Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our today's analysis. And I want to thank you so much for taking time to watch our videos. Now, how would you rate the way Raila spoke at the event where they were holding the requiem mass for the victims of police brutality that was seen during the demonstrations?
This is what is happening here. You're profiling a community. You want to use the very same tactics that were used by Mr. Hitler in Germany and in Europe. This is what is happening here in Kenya, and they want the international community to take note of what is happening here. Ultimately, it will be our responsibility to liberate our country. We must tell them also that we will not be cowed by this act. And we don't even have to bring people on the streets. We can tell people to stay home. That's another way of expressing displeasure and dissatisfaction. Next time we will not tell the people to come to the streets. We tell the people to stay in their homes. Stay in their homes and see what they're going to do. We will tell you, don't come out. Stop anybody who is trying to come out. Just stay at home. Stay at home.
In fact, I think it should never tire Kenyans hearing that Raila is a man who always knows how to work best when things are at their worst. Because first of all, the statement he made is such a serious one if you look at it deeply, because you can just maybe try to look at it shallowly that there will be no demonstrations at all. But the deeper sense of it is so much full of negative detriment, especially to a government that would want that economy be very active at all time. And when he was saying that people will not be forced to come out to demonstrate, in fact, they will just be told to remain indoors. But there is a statement which followed. He said that anybody who will be seeing anybody going to work, all right, if you are seen going to work, you don't want to remain in the house, then you are stopped from going to work. So that, first of all, brings out what we call the civil disobedience. So the civil disobedience here first is to the government, because it is like Raila is looking forward to calling holidays the way it will be pleasing him. So one day he wakes up and tells people, tomorrow there is no going to work, people must remain indoors. That is civil disobedience at its best. And civil disobedience is always taken very seriously, because the leaders can take up a measure under which they sensitize the people and they, incite the people to exactly do what they have been told. And it will be for the, detriment of the government. So that is civil disobedience to the government. And then it is also leading to kind of somebody who is calling for a strife. So a strife between two factions of people. The first faction of people is the faction of those who are remaining indoors, and then the other faction is the faction that are kind of disobeying the orders that Raila will give, and then they are going to work. And now the strife comes when he made the statement that if you see anybody disobeying the orders and doesn't want to remain indoors, then you stop them. You can just bring it in a practical scenario. It is war among the people. But this level that he's taking it comes with negative consequences. He has not pushed people to fight the government, because there will be no demonstrations. The moment demonstrations are announced and people get out into the streets, that is the time the government will be unleashing the artilleries and police everywhere. But this is between a person and a person, one person disobeying and one person trying to make sure that the other person who is disobeying should not have disobeyed. So that is something that for me, I think is going to be so serious. And it will take the government to go deeper into curbing it. Another practical aspect of it is, let's say you are in an apartment and then your neighbor is supposed to go to work, and you, who is following orders of Raila, will be trying to stop them. That's strife. And it is leading to kind of animosity among the people. For me, I don't see that as very appropriate because it will come with negative detriment. And also, you will note something that Raila Odinga and the team are not taking into consideration the fruit that will come out of the bipartisan talk. Because first of all, if the bipartisan talks become successful, you know, some of the serious and very vocal leaders in Azimio who are targeting their political future of 2022 based on how they will be kind of parading themselves right now, being very aggressive with what is happening, some of those leaders will be silenced because the ultimate outcome of the dialogue is to make peace. And when you make peace and you take Raila's camp, they will not be talking anyhow, just like the same way we saw in the handshake between Raila and Uhuru. There was no person or leader who was backing Raila who would say something against Uhuru's regime by that time of handshake. In fact, they went mum, their mouth was sealed. So they are now coming to realize that if the success of the bipartisan talk come through, then definitely some of us would need to be very, very active, may be silenced. And they have noted that for us to keep the government on toes and for us to have the political mileage and milestones in as far as how we engage the wananchi, we must not just bank on the outcome of the talks. And that is the reason why they are saying they are taking things seriously. Things like going to ICC, provoking the government, and demanding that some of the very key officials in the government, like the one, Japheth Koome, the IG, we may continue with the fire that has always been burning in us as the leaders of the opposition. So we are going to see a scenario under which the war of words will definitely erupt between Raila's team and Ruto's team. And it is coming at a time when these leaders who are supporting Raila Odinga have been silent and they are not very much proactive. They are not very much, steadfast in curbing anything that has been sent to them as a weapon by the Kenya Kwanza. And because we saw an outlay that is revealing the full house and the house, you look at the way Martha Karua spoke, you look at the way Jeremiah Kioni spoke, look at the way Wajakoya are speaking, and the very key people who are considered instrumental in the Azimio's team, they have taken the game a notch higher and to ensure that they tackle everything that comes from Kenya Kwanza. So that is exactly what we are expecting to see in the meantime, and they will be very active. Now all this, everything is sending a clear message or a coded message to the government. When the government thought that they had silenced them in terms of curbing the maandamano so that, fear was sent into the leaders of Azimio, they have come with a countermeasure. Civil disobedience to the government and actually sending a serious aspect which denotes kind of animosity that might spring up. And the government is supposed to protect its citizen. So if they don't come up with a countermeasure to this, we are going to see something we never expected in the first place. And for Raila Odinga, you heard how people are celebrating. You heard how, the feedback has been. Everybody is always attentive to what he will say. And everybody is always ready to buy into what he says. And so, this man knows how to work best when things are at their worst. But I think this time round, that aspect of the people's kind of checkmating one another is so serious. Like I always say, for now I cannot just put my hands on it. But let us give time.
Sasa Mr. Ruto, which Mali was being destroyed in Bondo? Which Mali was being destroyed in Bondo? Which Mali was being destroyed in Sondo? Which Mali was being destroyed in Migori? In Yarenda? Which Mali was being destroyed? Gacheta said, and you have not contradicted him, that Kenya is a company, that there are those with more shares, those with fewer shares, and those with no shares. It is not just against the Luos, it's against all the communities that voted predominantly for Azimio.
we will see how things will turn out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next analysis. May you have a great time.